What if I told you that Mexico just delivered a seismic economic shock? Not a ripple, but a full-blown earthquake that sent Wall Street spiraling, left Trump grasping for answers, and plunged America into a state of utter panic. Sounds unreal, right? Like the plot of a political thriller. Think again. This isn't a drill. It's happening right now. But let's be clear, this isn't about a couple of tariffs or some routine trade scuffle. No, this is a calculated economic counterstrike that's sending tremors through global markets. The kind of move that doesn't just grab headlines, it makes history. So how did we get here? How did a once solid trade partnership between two powerful neighbors disintegrate into an all-out economic war? What bold, unexpected move did Mexico make that caught the United States and Trump completely off guard? And most importantly, what happens next? Strap in because we're about to break it all down piece by piece, and what you're about to hear will change everything.
And I said, do you think it's fair that we're paying $200 billion to keep Canada going? And what would happen, I asked him, what would happen if we didn't do that, if we didn't subsidize Canada? He said, we'd be a failed nation. And I said, then you should be a state.
These aren't just words, they're part of a growing economic storm shaking the U.S. markets to their core. But here's what makes this different. Canada is not backing down. This time, they're hitting back, and American businesses are starting to feel it.
One of the messages that has been made clear to businesses across this country and by governments, but not only by governments, by Canadians, is that in this country, we stick up for each other. The number of people who are making choices to buy Canadian, to support a local producer, to buy local agricultural products. Businesses that are looking to strengthen their supply chains to include small businesses from across this country instead of south of the border. And that's what we do when we're facing economic hardships like a potential trade conflict with the United States.
More and more Canadians are making deliberate choices, supporting local farmers, buying homegrown products, and choosing Canadian businesses over U.S. imports. This isn't just a trend, it's a shift in consumer behavior that is already making waves across industries.
The fight is here, a fight that we did not ask for. We have to stick up for ourselves. And so the first step that we're announcing, it has to do with pulling U.S. products off the shelves, and it means that we won't be carrying these products thereafter. We've been in conversation with some of the private retailers, and we're not going to be providing them any directive what to do, but of course we expect that Manitobans as consumers are going to be wanting to spend their dollars on Canadian products, Canadian liquor, Canadian wines, as well as maybe on products that come from parts of the world that are going to treat us fairly and that are going to be good business partners for us.
One thing has become clear. In Canada, they stick up for each other. From government officials to everyday consumers, a new movement is taking shape. One that could shake the U.S. economy more than anyone anticipated.
We're talking about a real shift here, not just a little bump in the road. So, let's break down how this is messing with the way things have always worked, and what it might mean for how Canada and the U.S. do business in the future. It's kind of like watching a good drama unfold, but with numbers and trade deals instead of actors. Impact of tariffs. The impact of tariffs hit hard and fast. When the U.S. imposed a 25% tax on most Canadian imports, it sent shockwaves through the economy. Almost overnight, Canadian consumers began to turn away from American goods.
More and more Canadians are making deliberate choices, supporting local farmers, buying homegrown products, and choosing Canadian businesses over U.S. imports. This isn't just a trend, it's a shift in consumer behavior that is already making waves across industries. As trade tensions rise, Canadian consumers are becoming increasingly aware of where their money is going. Grocery stores are reporting a surge in demand for locally sourced food, with more shoppers actively checking labels to ensure their purchases support domestic agriculture. Farmers markets and small businesses are thriving as people prioritize sustainability and national economic strength over convenience. Beyond food, this movement is reshaping retail and manufacturing. Clothing brands that produce their goods in Canada are gaining popularity, while American fashion labels face declining sales. Even in the tech and automotive sectors, consumers are looking for alternatives to U.S.-made products, driving demand for domestic and international options that don't rely on American supply chains. This behavioral shift signals a deeper economic realignment, one where national pride and economic independence play a growing role in everyday purchasing decisions. If this trend continues, it could fundamentally alter the trade relationship between Canada and the US, making Canada less reliant on American imports while strengthening its own industries from within.
This wasn't just a minor shift. It was a massive rejection of products that had been staples in Canadian households. Sales of US products in Canada dropped nearly 20% in just a month. That's a staggering figure. It shows how quickly people can make a stand when they feel their pride is at stake. The harsh tariff policies sparked a backlash that was felt in every corner of the country. Canadians began to rally around their local products, and the message was clear: we value our homegrown goods. With supermarkets plastered with signs urging shoppers to shop Canadian, it became evident that this was more than just a trend. It was a movement. The Buy Beaver app, designed to help consumers identify local products, saw a surge in downloads. In just 2 weeks, it surpassed 35,000. Clearly, Canadians were taking action and making conscious choices in their shopping habits. A shift in consumer preferences. The shift in consumer preferences marked a profound change in how Canadians view their purchasing power. With 85% of consumers now preferring Canadian-made products, the landscape of retail began to transform. Supermarkets were filled with local options, and American imports struggled to find shelf space. This realignment wasn't just about avoiding tariffs. It was about national pride. People wanted to support their own economy. The idea of buying local became a badge of honor. Consumers felt empowered to make choices that supported Canadian businesses, and this sentiment spread like wildfire.
The impact? Immediate. Sales of US goods in Canada have dropped by nearly 20% in just 1 month. That's not a dent, that's a crater. And the numbers are only growing as more people embrace this economic rebellion. This sharp decline reflects a major shift in consumer sentiment, as Canadians consciously turn away from American imports in favor of locally produced goods. Supermarkets are seeing a surge in demand for Canadian-made products, while retailers are adjusting their inventories to meet the changing preferences of their customers. Even online marketplaces are witnessing a boost in sales for domestic brands, reinforcing the idea that this movement is more than just a temporary reaction. It's a long-term economic transformation. Industries that have long depended on cross-border trade are now being forced to rethink their strategies. From agriculture to manufacturing, businesses that once relied on American suppliers are diversifying their sources, strengthening Canada's economic independence. If this trend continues, the US could face lasting consequences, as one of its closest trading partners builds a more self-sufficient and resilient economy.
Canada's government was swift in its response to US policies. Condemnation of the tariffs was just the beginning. The real change came from the ground up, as consumers and businesses alike made their voices heard. The Canadian government supported this shift, promoting local industries and encouraging citizens to choose Canadian-made products. But it wasn't just about words. Action was taken. Counter-tariffs were implemented, targeting billions of dollars worth of US goods. This was a clear message. If the US wanted to play hardball, Canada would respond in kind. The Canadian economy began to adapt, with businesses restructuring their strategies to thrive in this new landscape. Farmers and manufacturers ramped up production to fill the gaps left by US imports. Retailers began to prioritize domestic products, and online marketplaces saw a boom in demand for local goods. The response was not just reactive, it was proactive, and it set the stage for a new economic reality. The rise of local products. The rise of local products became a defining feature of this economic shift. As Canadians embraced the idea of supporting homegrown businesses, the demand for local goods skyrocketed. This wasn't just about avoiding tariffs, it was about fostering a sense of community and pride.
Canada retaliates, cutting out US products. In response, Canada begins pulling US products off its shelves. Private retailers joined in, cutting ties with American suppliers. And the movement didn't stop there. Apps designed to help consumers buy locally saw an explosion in downloads, proving just how serious Canadians are about this. Major grocery chains and independent retailers alike started prioritizing Canadian-made alternatives, with some stores dedicating entire sections to locally produced goods. Promotional campaigns encouraging shoppers to buy Canadian gained momentum, further accelerating the shift away from American imports. Consumers, driven by both economic and national pride, embrace this change, making deliberate purchasing decisions to support homegrown businesses. The surge in app downloads highlights just how deeply this movement has taken root. Platforms designed to help consumers identify Canadian-made products, many of which previously had modest user bases, saw record-breaking growth. This digital push has empowered shoppers with real-time information, allowing them to make informed choices and reinforcing a long-term commitment to supporting domestic industries. If this trend holds, American brands could face an uphill battle regaining their foothold in the Canadian market.
Canadian farmers and manufacturers rose to the occasion. They increased production to meet the growing demand. This not only helped to fill the void left by U.S. imports, but also boosted local economies. Communities began to thrive as people chose to invest in their neighbors and support local jobs. Retailers had to adapt quickly. Many began to showcase Canadian products prominently, making it easier for consumers to make informed choices. Online platforms also played a significant role. With a surge in interest for local products, e-commerce sites became essential for connecting consumers with Canadian brands. It was a win-win situation for everyone involved. U.S. energy dependence on Canada. Despite claims of energy independence, the U.S. still heavily relies on Canadian energy. Every day, millions of barrels of oil and billions of cubic feet of natural gas cross the border. It's a lifeline for many states. American refineries are designed to process heavy crude from Canada. If Canada were to cut back on exports, the U.S. would face significant challenges. Prices would spike, and stability would be at risk. Natural gas is another critical area. Canada supplies a substantial portion of the gas needed for heating and electricity. Disruptions in this supply could lead to widespread blackouts and soaring energy costs across the U.S. Tesla's tariff turmoil. In a bold move, Canada has proposed a 100% tariff on Tesla vehicles. It's a statement about the future of the auto industry in North America.
And it's not just about shopping habits. This trade war is pushing Canada to seek new business partners, strengthening ties with Europe, Asia, and South America while reducing reliance on the U.S. altogether. This isn't just a disagreement, it's a transformation in global trade. In response to mounting tariffs and economic uncertainty, Canada has accelerated negotiations with international partners, securing trade agreements that provide new opportunities for its industries. The Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership, or CPTPP, and Canadian-European Union Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, or CETA, have become increasingly vital, allowing Canadian businesses to expand their reach beyond North America. These deals not only diversify trade, but also reduce exposure to U.S. economic policies, giving Canada greater leverage in future negotiations. At the same time, Canadian companies are forging direct relationships with manufacturers and suppliers in Asia and South America, bypassing traditional US-based distribution networks. This shift is already showing results, with imports and exports adjusting to reflect a more globally integrated Canadian economy. If this strategy continues, Canada could emerge from this trade war stronger and more self-sufficient, signaling a significant shift in North America's economic balance.
Tesla, which dominates the electric vehicle market, stands to lose heavily if this tariff goes through. The implications are massive. A price hike could push Tesla cars out of reach for many Canadian consumers. This could lead to a sharp decline in sales and a significant hit to Tesla's bottom line. Major players like Ford and GM could see disruptions in production and sales as the market adjusts to these new realities. The potential fallout from the trade war extends well beyond Tesla. The entire North American auto industry could face significant challenges. If tariffs continue to rise, production could be affected, leading to job losses and economic instability. As companies scramble to adapt, the focus will shift. Innovation and efficiency will be key as they navigate these turbulent waters. The industry may need to rethink its strategies to survive in this new landscape. Consumers will also feel the impact. Prices could rise, choices may dwindle, and the push for electric vehicles could slow down. The future of the auto industry hangs in the balance as these trade tensions escalate. If you're concerned about your financial security and are thinking about investing, check out the first link in the description. It's the platform I use, Interactive Brokers. Click the link to learn more. We hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please like and subscribe.
But here's the twist. Despite all the tension, the U.S. still depends on Canada for energy. Millions of barrels of oil and billions of cubic feet of natural gas flow south every day. If Canada decides to cut exports, the US could see skyrocketing energy costs and potential shortages. Canada is the largest foreign supplier of crude oil and natural gas to the United States, accounting for nearly 50% of total US oil imports. American refineries, particularly in the Midwest and Gulf Coast, are designed to process heavy crude, much of which comes from Alberta's oil sands. A disruption in this supply wouldn't just raise fuel prices. It could create significant instability in industries reliant on petroleum, from transportation to manufacturing. Natural gas is another crucial factor. The U.S. heavily depends on Canadian natural gas to power homes and businesses, especially in the northern states during harsh winters. A reduction in supply could lead to higher heating costs, potential shortages, and even energy rationing in extreme cases. If trade tensions escalate to the point where Canada considers restricting exports, the U.S. could be forced to seek alternatives. More expensive sources, further straining an already fragile energy market.
Disruptions in this supply could lead to widespread blackouts and soaring energy costs across the U.S. Tesla's tariff turmoil. In a bold move, Canada has proposed a 100% tariff on Tesla vehicles. It's a statement about the future of the auto industry in North America. Tesla, which dominates the electric vehicle market, stands to lose heavily if this tariff goes through. The implications are massive. A price hike could push Tesla cars out of reach for many Canadian consumers. This could lead to a sharp decline in sales and a significant hit to Tesla's bottom line. Major players like Ford and GM could see disruptions in production and sales as the market adjusts to these new realities. The potential fallout from the trade war extends well beyond Tesla. The entire North American auto industry could face significant challenges. If tariffs continue to rise, production could be affected.
And now Canada is taking it one step further, proposing a 100% tariff on Tesla vehicles. If this happens, Tesla could see sales plummet, while Ford, GM, and other American automakers could face major disruptions. The entire North American auto industry is on edge. A 100% tariff would effectively double the price of Tesla vehicles in Canada, making them far less accessible to consumers and potentially driving buyers toward domestic or European alternatives. Canada has been a key market for Tesla, with strong demand for electric vehicles, or EVs, due to government incentives and increasing environmental consciousness. However, if this tariff is enacted, Tesla's competitive edge could vanish overnight, forcing the company to reconsider its pricing strategy or even its presence in the Canadian market. But Tesla isn't the only automaker at risk. Ford, GM, and other American manufacturers rely on Canada both as a market and a production hub, with many of their vehicles being assembled or partially manufactured in Canadian plants. Disruptions in cross-border trade could lead to supply chain delays, job losses, and price hikes for consumers. If tensions escalate further, the long-standing economic relationship between the U.S. and Canada's auto industries could face unprecedented challenges, reshaping North America's automotive landscape for years to come.
Leading to job losses and economic instability. As companies scramble to adapt, the focus will shift. Innovation and efficiency will be key as they navigate these turbulent waters. The industry may need to rethink its strategies to survive in this new landscape. Consumers will also feel the impact. Prices could rise, choices may dwindle, and the push for electric vehicles could slow down. The future of the auto industry hangs in the balance as these trade tensions escalate. If you're concerned about your financial security and are thinking about investing, check out the first link in the description. It's the platform I use, Interactive Brokers.
This economic battle is no longer just about tariffs. It's about power. If Canada continues to diversify its trade and reduce reliance on the U.S., we could be witnessing a fundamental shift in North American economic dominance, with Canada strengthening its trade ties with Europe, Asia, and South America. The traditional dynamics of cross-border commerce are being redefined. The U.S., once the central force in North American trade, now faces the risk of losing its grip as Canada and other nations seek greater independence from American economic policies. This shift could lead to long-term consequences, forcing U.S. industries to adapt to a new reality where they can no longer rely on Canada as a guaranteed trade partner. But the implications extend far beyond North America. The global economy is watching closely, and if Canada succeeds, it could set a precedent for the other countries looking to reduce their economic dependence on the U.S. Nations that have historically followed American trade policies may begin reconsidering their alliances, diversifying their markets, and seeking greater autonomy in international trade. The question remains, is the US prepared for a world where there is no longer the uncontested center of trade? The answer to that will shape the future of global economic power. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time,